Debates the military response 19 days since the worst terror attack in Israeli history. Its leaders are trying to frame the stakes, today laying bare the brutality in graphic detail. Here's Raf Sanchez.
On October 7th, 2023, something really sad happened in Israel. There was a big attack carried out by a group called Hamas. It caused a lot of pain and loss for the country. It reminded people of the terrible things that happened during the Holocaust, a time when many Jewish people suffered greatly. This attack on October 7th led to the deaths of more than 1,400 Jewish people. Families were torn apart, and whole communities were left feeling devastated. It wasn't just Jewish people who were hurt. Many innocent men, women, and kids were also affected by the violence. But there's more to this sad event than just what happened on that day. It's important to understand the bigger picture. This means looking at all the different reasons and feelings that led to this tragedy. It shows us that the conflicts in this part of the world are really complicated and involve a lot of history and different perspectives. When we zoom out and look at the context around the October 7th tragedy, we see a mix of politics, society, and beliefs. It makes us think about why violence like this happens and how hard it is to make peace in this region. As we delve deeper, we uncover a backdrop of tension surrounding the Temple Mount. About 100 days after Hamas's assault, Abu Ubaidah, the military spokesperson for the Hamas al-Qassam brigades, took to television to address the nation. In his speech, he spoke of Hamas's actions as a response to perceived threats against the Temple Mount, the sacred Al-Aqsa Mosque, and the revered Dome of the Rock. He painted a picture of a defensive stance, stating that the attack aimed to safeguard these holy sites from perceived Jewish intentions, including plans surrounding the red heifer sacrifice. In September 2022, several red heifers, meeting very specific requirements, arrived in Israel from Texas. These heifers are seen as crucial for a ritual outlined in the Book of Numbers. They must be completely red, without blemishes, and never have been pregnant, milked, or yoked. The Temple Institute, dedicated to rebuilding the Jewish temple in Jerusalem, views this as a potential turning point. They believe the red heifer ceremony, involving sacrifice and burning, is a prerequisite for priestly service on the Temple Mount, a contested holy site in Jerusalem. Performing the red heifer ceremony is seen by the Temple Institute as a significant step towards rebuilding the Third Temple, prophesied to succeed the two biblical temples that once stood on the Temple Mount. This event holds great importance for some branches of Judaism, particularly those who believe the temple's reconstruction heralds the coming of the Messiah. The arrival of the red heifers has reignited discussions about the Temple Mount and the possibility of rebuilding the Third Temple. While the ceremony's significance is debated, it represents a pote delving into the background is key to understanding the significance of the Third Temple. Let's start by revisiting the Old Testament. In the Book of Numbers, chapter 19, we encounter the ceremony of sacrificing the red heifer. This ancient ritual holds profound importance within Jewish tradition. And the Lord spake unto context. For some religious traditions, the red heifer holds symbolic meaning, foreshadowing the future sacrifice of Jesus Christ. The perfect condition of the heifer reflects Christ's sinlessness, while the offering outside the camp parallels Jesus' crucifixion outside Jerusalem. What the Old Testament shares sheds light on a deeply significant aspect of Jewish tradition and prophecy. Maimonides' teachings indeed carry weight within Jewish thought, and his perspective on the red heifer sacrifices adds layers of meaning to the anticipation surrounding this event. The historical context the Old Testament mentioned, particularly the timing of the last red heifer sacrifice, just before the destruction of the Second Temple by the Romans, underscores the gravity of this ritual within Jewish history. The belief that the sacrifice of the 10th red heifer could herald the onset of a messianic age is profound and underscores the spiritual significance attributed to this event. It's a belief that resonates deeply with many within the Jewish community, shaping their aspirations and hopes for the future. Throughout Jewish history, the red heifer has been a symbol of purity and an important part of religious ceremonies described in the Torah. But because they're so rare, they're like precious jewels, sparking interest and excitement among believers for generations. In Jewish tradition, the red heifer is incredibly important. According to the Torah, its ashes were needed to make people pure, especially those who wanted to enter holy places like the Temple in Jerusalem. However, strict rules in Jewish law say the heifer must be completely red and without any flaws, which makes finding one really hard. Because red heifers are so rare, there were times in history when people couldn't properly follow purification rituals, making them long for the day when a suitable heifer would be found again. This hope is deeply ingrained in Jewish culture, symbolizing the desire to bring back sacred practices and fulfill prophecies about rebuilding the Third Temple. Throughout the years, scholars, religious leaders, and believers have been fascinated by the search for a red heifer. Some have looked into ancient texts for clues, while others have even thought about breeding or using genetic engineering to make one that fits the criteria from Jewish law. Today, as talks about rebuilding the Third Temple grow, finding a red heifer is more important than ever. For many, finding or creating one isn't just about bringing back old rituals. It's also a spiritual journey, showing the return of divine presence and the fulfillment of ancient promises. So, the scarcity of red heifers in Jewish history hasn't just made it hard to perform certain rituals. It's also strengthened faith, determination, and the belief in a future where sacred traditions are fully restored. As for the Temple Institute's preparations on the Mount of Olives, it's intriguing to consider the reasoning behind their choice of location. The Mount of Olives holds significant religious and historical importance within Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, making it a fitting setting for such a momentous occasion. Perhaps the Institute's decision reflects a desire to honor tradition, while also imbuing the event with profound symbolism and meaning. Regardless of one's personal beliefs, it's clear that the anticipation surrounding the sacrifice of the red heifer is deeply rooted in millennia of religious tradition, prophecy, and the collective hopes of a community. During the time of the Second Temple, there was a fascinating tradition surrounding the red heifers, a vital part of Jewish purification rituals. These heifers weren't just sacrificed anywhere. They were led outside the temple grounds to the Kidron Valley, creating a symbolic boundary between the sacred space and the outside world. What made these red heifers so significant was what came next. After their sacrifice, their ashes were carefully mixed with pure water. This special mixture held immense importance, as it was used to purify not only the physical temple, but also the priests who served there and the sacred instruments they used. Fast forward to today, and the landscape has changed dramatically. Where the temple once stood, we now find the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. This presents a challenge for modern Jewish worshippers. While they can visit the Temple Mount, achieving the same level of ceremonial purity as in ancient times is difficult. Navigating this revered area requires great care and reverence, as it remains the holiest site in Judaism, with certain areas accessible only to the highest religious authorities. The complexities of temple reconstruction are further complicated by the need for ritual purity, a prerequisite for such a sacred undertaking. This is where the symbolic significance of the red heifer becomes apparent once again. According to tradition, the ashes of the red heifer hold the key to purifying the Temple Mount, signaling the beginning of temple reconstruction. This process symbolizes the enduring connection between faith, tradition, and the collective aspirations of the Jewish people, serving as a beacon of continuity amidst the passage of time. As we delve into the fascinating topography of Jerusalem, it becomes apparent that the Mount of Olives holds a unique vantage point, towering above the revered Temple Mount. Picture this: a priest preparing to perform a sacred ritual atop the Mount of Olives, gazing down upon the majestic court of the temple below. Remarkably, the Temple Institute has meticulously chosen a specific location on the Mount of Olives for the forthcoming Passover sacrifice of the red heifer, ushering in a momentous shift from traditions of yore. Indeed, this upcoming Passover promises to be unlike any other in recent memory. The anticipation is palpable, with whispers circulating that the long-awaited red heifer sacrifice may finally come to fruition. Against the backdrop of these unfolding events, tensions between the Arab and Jewish communities are at an unprecedented high, a testament to the gravity of the times we find ourselves in. Reflecting on these developments, it's awe-inspiring to consider the grand narrative unfolding before our eyes. We are privileged to witness the resurgence of the nation of Israel, a testament to the fulfillment of ancient prophecies and the gathering of Jewish people from every corner of the globe. As the final chapters of Scripture seemingly draw near, we stand on the precipice of history, poised to witness the realization of age-old promises. Yes, these are truly remarkable times, ones that previous generations could only dream of. We have borne witness to the labor pains of Israel's rebirth, and now, as the dust settles, we can glimpse the dawn of a new era filled with hope and possibility. The prospect of constructing the Third Temple, once deemed a distant aspiration, now looms tantalizingly close, an emblem of the remarkable journey that has brought us to this pivotal moment. Mr. Yehuda Glick, a figure of considerable influence in shaping the Jewish presence on the Temple Mount. Glick's journey has been marked by both controversy and popularity, stemming from his unwavering advocacy for Jewish rights to access the sacred site. Over the years, he has worked tirelessly to mobilize increasing numbers of Jewish individuals to visit the Temple Mount, a mission that has garnered both admiration and disdain. His efforts have not gone unnoticed, stirring reactions among the local Arab population who have viewed his activities with deep-seated animosity. However, it was a fateful day on October 29, 2014, that thrust Glick into the spotlight when he was targeted in a shocking attack while delivering a speech at the Mahim Begin Heritage Center. Despite sustaining grave injuries, Glick's resilience prevailed as he was swiftly attended to by Israeli medics, emerging from the ordeal with an unyielding determination to pursue his cause. Since that pivotal moment, Glick's influence has only expanded, culminating in his entry into the Knesset in 2016 as a member of the Likud party, solidifying his position within Israel's political landscape. Yet, Glick's impact extends beyond the realm of politics. He has brought the issue of the Jewish temple to the forefront of public discourse, garnering support from prominent Jewish leaders who share his vision. In a recent interview reflecting on the progress made, Glick highlights the significant shift in attitudes, noting a marked increase in the number of individuals aligned with his cause. 10 years ago, there was not a single member of CET who ascended Temple Mount. Today, we have 20 of CET members who are interested in ascending Temple Mount, praying on the Temple Mount, and are part of the battle for the redemption of the Temple Mount, and for bringing the Temple Mount back into the center of the next step in the redemption process. Glick's dedication serves as a testament to the enduring pursuit of principles he holds dear, shaping the narrative surrounding the Temple Mount and its significance in contemporary Israeli society. The next step in the redemption process, according to beliefs held by some, involves the symbolic act of sacrificing the red heifer on the Mount of Olives. This ritual is believed to have the potential to unlock access to the Temple Mount for the Jewish people, paving the way for the construction of the temple. The Temple Institute, a prominent organization dedicated to the restoration of the Jewish temple, is actively preparing for this pivotal moment. Central to their preparations is the training of future priests who will serve in the anticipated temple. These priests undergo rigorous instruction and practice, including the performance of sacrificial rituals, in anticipation of the significant role they will play. Every year, they engage in sacrificial practices, honing their skills for the crucial sacrifice, which some believe could occur as early as the upcoming Passover. The question of when the temple will be built is one of speculation and religious interpretation. For those who share this vision, the temple represents more than just a physical structure. It embodies the hope for a universal religion that transcends boundaries, fostering unity among all peoples. Proponents believe that the establishment of such a temple in Jerusalem would serve as a catalyst for global peace and redemption, ushering in a new era of harmony and understanding. However, the realization of this aspiration remains uncertain and subject to various factors, including political, religious, and social dynamics. While some fervently anticipate its construction, others approach the idea with skepticism or opposition. Thus, the journey towards the construction of the temple is multifaceted, shaped by a complex interplay of beliefs, aspirations, and practical considerations. Looking at things today, it's clear that things have shifted. More and more countries are teaming up against Israel. The United Nations keeps criticizing Israel for what it's doing in Gaza. And even Russia, usually an ally, is now against Israel because Israel said it would help Ukraine against Russia. So, does this mean we're heading towards a big conflict, the so-called Armageddon? It's a scary thought, but it's true that we're closer to it now than ever. But here's the good part. Despite all the tension, there's still hope. People believe that in the end, everything will turn out okay for the world. It's that hope that keeps us going, even when things seem uncertain.